Hello, welcome to this fourth episode of how to make an event bracket. In this episode we're going to make this scoreboard, bracket. What we're achieving today is making this button, so when you click on it, it takes you to Google Sheet, and we also want to make a hover button, so when you choose how many match it takes to win. For example 3, then press 1, press player 3, and if this guy reaches 3, then this player moves on, etc. So that's what we're going to do in this episode. We have already loaded this data, we have made this in these previous episodes, and we have also set up the HTML in the first episode. So we have done plenty already, and we're now going to the final step of this thing. Right, so right now this is what we're going to achieve today, not this part but the rest of it. The first thing we have to bother with is first turn on your sheet here. Then you can turn off the old one and get yours, which is active one right now. Open with live server, check the previous episodes to do that. Right, so now we have the list of the players, which is coming from here. The first thing we want is to make a button, so you can enter this sheet in into a blank sheet, so it doesn't just kick you out of this website, because you want it to open like a new page, so to speak. For that we have to begin in HTML, and we're going to be above the container, which is a bit unusual in this case. Yeah, so we're going to start by writing a div. Div. We don't really need to give this a class yet. Then we're going to make a new div inside of it, and we're going to give this class link style. Right, inside this link style we're going to be writing a label, and inside of the label we're going to have an a tag, which is going to be like this. And inside of the a tag we're going to write first target underscore and blank. Then next up we're going to add a class called first. I didn't write a more creative name, but that has to do for now. And then we're going to do href, and we're going to add the Google Sheet link here, the edit link, which we can get from here. Copy and change this to editor mode and copy it, and go back here and put it inside. Right, so something is off here. Oh, forgot this. But yeah, this is one too much here. Label like this, and this is also too much. There you go. And here we are going to write as much as player list. So this should give us a link right now, in not a good one, but enter it, we get a new page, and we have the player list here. What I mean basically is if you remove the target part, if you just delete this, what's going to happen is it's going to open the same page. We don't really want it. That's why you want to target a new page, so to speak, and that's how you do it. Next up, we also want the place for the user to pretty much select how many wins the games are up to. So for that you have to create the form, then give it a name of form ID 0 like this, and then we are oh crap, I forgot these, and give it a class of same form ID 0, do not confuse it with anything else, and then close it. Inside the form we're going to have a label. We're gonna call this not for. We're gonna give it a class of number, and inside we're going to write current battle node first to and close label. Then go down to next row. We're gonna have a select in here. Inside of the select we're going to write the name result 0 and the ID of result 0 and the class. So we're gonna have two classes here. Result 0 0 and result with big T 0. I don't think we'll need these, but we might delete them later, but just add them just in case we are going to use them. I'll just remember. And close it. Inside of the select we're going to have a few options, and inside the option we're going to have value of 1, and if it's 1 then it is going to be 1 as text. 2 3, you can choose how much you want here. 4, I'm gonna have it up to 5 just because. 2 3 4 5. So even if you write to do something like this, it's still going to read 5 if you select this part, just so you know. And for the last part below the select, or after the select I guess, we're going to write, we're gonna give this label. Labels pretty much a text, nothing else in particular, and then write wins here. So if we take a look inside the code, current battle mode first to 1, and you can select the stuff here, and that's all there is to the HTML. Next So go to JavaScript file and put it below as usual, and you can make it bigger. So one thing to note is that it's not connected whatsoever to the bringing of the Google Sheets names. It's separate code, so to speak. So you can start a separate code below with no problems. So the first thing we want is to get this number, right? We want this number to be defined. So how do you know how to get this number? So first we have to create a constant called const. Then we're gonna call it res, which stands for result. We can write the result here, I guess. 0 0, which is just 0, you know. Then document dot get element by ID. And how do you know what the element ID is? There's two ways to know. First one is going to the actual HTML code and checking it out here from the select. In this case it's select no wait, it's this one, ID result 0. You copy this and paste it here, and that's all to it. Like this. Then if you console log it, actually it won't work. It will work, but it won't work now because you have to add the update part. The event listener change. So even if you console log it, nothing's gonna happen. Alright, so we can start with the first one. When I say first one, I mean this one, to send data to this. So what we have to do is write first brackets. That's gonna help you a lot. I can explain why later. Const, which is constant. We're gonna write result 0 1, which stands for the first result, the first player, equal to document dot get element by ID. And once again we're gonna get the ID from the first result. We do that by going to the actual result in the HTML, which is here, and it's gonna be this one, result 1. Yeah. Then semicolon after, always. Then result 2 and 2, pretty much. Now we want to get the names of who's playing, right? So const name 1, I guess. Maybe we can write 0 to be consistent with the one above. Is equal to document.get element by ID, and from here you know the drill, so I'm not gonna show it again. But player 1, once again it's the same as before. You go to the player and ID player 1, like this. And one thing, if you're thinking like, okay, I got this code right now, I understand it, you don't yet, because it's different in the when you qualify. Why? It's because here we're getting a list from a drop down. When you qualify, you get a list from a div, so it's different. It's not the same code, so to speak. Right. So now we have all the constants we need, or variables we need to make it work. Notice that this is a global. These only work within these brackets. So you can use this one inside of this bracket, but you cannot use these outside the bracket. Now you might say, well, put these outside the bracket, but here's the thing, I can keep these variables names as long as it's inside the bracket. I can reuse the names. So instead of writing like this 3 4 3 4, what I can do is simply copy this entire thing, and I can keep these 1 and 2 and just change these to 3 and 4 instead, and it's gonna work just fine, because this is the closed bracket. They are not connecting to each other whatsoever. You can send data from the result to this and this, but you cannot send you cannot send data back, so to speak. So that's what you need to know. And you don't need to send data back either. You can have the change event in here. I'm again explain this more later, but that's all you need to know for now. Now we're going into the actual formula. So result 0, 0. It's not an actual result, it's just a variable I added. Dot add event listener. It's going to be a change, and comma, parentheses, and I did something wrong already. This is going to be here, and it's going to be one of these arrow thing and curly bracket. In here we're going to write let result 01 or 01 parse parse int. It's an integer, that's what int stands for. It's a number with a certain amount of decimals and length, so to speak. So if you're going to play like with millions and billions, then int is not going to work, because int is limited to I think 8 digits of length, I think, something like that, if I'm not fully mistaken. Here we're going to write result result 01 dot value, and now we have the result of the first match, the first player, so to speak. Result 1 is referring to exactly this one. This is result 1. Right, so here, what if, here now if statement is going to start. If result 01 is equal to parse int result 0, 0 dot value. Isn't it? No, it's okay. So if this is the case, then we want to document dot get element by ID, and where do we want this name to go? If this is the result, we want this name. If this guy wins, if this is a win, and we want this name to go here. So what is the ID of this one? The first name in the second branch. Let's go to the HTML, search up the second branch. So it would be here, and it's going to be player 9. Player 9, and then we're going to write dot inner HTML equal to name dot value. And if this is not the case, else if you write that by doing the same one. Oops. And you write is not by doing exclamation mark equal. So this means is not. And what do you want to do if that's the case? What we want to do is get this same again, but in this time we want it empty. So like this. Oops. This means empty. Yeah. That's about it for the code. this first one. The next part is just to copy paste all the way. So that's what we're going to do for the first branch. 1 second. We also going to add the second player in here. So we're going to copy all the way here, and result 2 result 2 Wait, didn't I miss something? And then name 2 result 2. Let's see, result, just checking it, and it seems about right. And that's the first one done. Yeah, here it is. So let's refresh. It's set to 2 wins right now. Can select player 3, player 5, 2, and it appears it didn't work. Let's see what's wrong. Oh, this is going to be player 10, by the way. Oh no, yeah, it is 9 here, but you're supposed to have 1 and 2 here, because it was running this one, which is not anything particular. So what it's saying is, on change, result 1. So when this one change, we're going to run this code inside of this. However, result 2 change, we're going to run this code. What I mean is, if this one changes, then we want to check if this guy has won. If this guy has won, and if this guy has won, then this point is equal to this point, right? Then we want this name to go here, which is, it is saying right here, get player 9, which is, player 9 is basically the first player. This is player 9 basically. Get player 9 to equal to name 1 value. Name 1 is this. And if this is not the case, then have player 9 empty for now. Right. And the same is here on player 2. If this guy has won, then run this code, get player 2 to player 9 spots. If player 2 did not win, then leave it empty for now. This had a problem, I can show it later, but yeah, I think there is a way to solve it pretty easily. I'll try it soon. So right now it should be working. We'll do player 2, player 4, and 1. I see the mistake now. I have defined this twice. This one and this one. I defined it twice. This is supposed to be just two. And this one is going to be, there is 1. And where is it? Here, 2. And that's all for this one. I'm gonna copy it. So rest of 2 and 2, 2, 2, 9. Here's gonna be 2, 2. Let's see. Rest 2. That should be all, I think, right? Let's see, it should be on 3 places right now. Yes, it is. So now it's working. Jeez. Alright, let's refresh just in case. Play 3, play 4, and the first 4 wins. 4, there's not even 4. First 3, there you go, play 4. And if we change this to like 1, nothing's gonna happen. If we change 2, nothing's gonna happen. But if this gets 3, player 3 moves on. So there's the code without messing up. Now we're gonna copy paste this, which is the next hassle. But it's fairly simple too. It's not a big deal, frankly speaking. So let's get started with it. First, let's make this bigger. It's annoying at this point. Oops. 4. Copy this entire code. And you can keep this right now as res1, res2, etc. The only thing it changes this to 3, 4, 3, 4, and this to 10. And that's all I have to do, basically. Now the second one should be working. Basically, if you do player 4 versus player 5, and the first one to 1, there you go, it's working. Easy peasy. Reason is if you play like if you put the text here, it's going to display the text instead. So I have empty right now, but you can just put any text really inside of this. We're gonna continue with this. 5, 6, 5, 6, 11, 11, 11, 11. Let's see, 7, 8, 7, 8, 12, and 12, 12, and 12. So that's it for the first branch, sending results. Now we're going to start with the second branch. It's very similar but not exactly the same. It's a bit different in a way that you're not getting the result from a drop down. You're getting it from a plain list, so to speak. But most it's the same, so to speak. Semi finals box 1. And in here we're going to add pretty much the same code, almost. I'm just gonna check where the edits are, but for now we can switch it up to 9, 10, 9, 10, and this is going to be 13, 13, 13, 13, which should be the first player in semifinals. Yeah. So now on we're going to switch up following lines. What we're adding is, instead of the value here, we're adding inner HTML in here, so wherever it says, not everywhere it says value, but on these two, and also I think that's it. Let me just check again. Yeah, it should really be working right now if I'm not mistaken. So let's test it out. This, that, this, that, 1. There you go. And then 1. Yeah, there you go. It's sending properly. So it's working. Means it's the right code. basically. We're gonna copy this, make the second semifinal part. Box 2. Now this is the final one because when you're in finals you don't really go anywhere else. So we're gonna switch this to 11, 12, 11, 12, 14, 14, 14, 14, and that's it for the code. We have now completed a bracket for 8 players. If you're not really wishing to do anything else more desperate than this. So if you test it out, we can put in player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then 1, and then this guy wins, this guy wins. So you see it's working as it should. Yeah, and that's it. I think I've held my promise by making this entire bracket here. Took a bit long, but it's working, so I guess it's fine. I'm gonna scroll through the code right now, slowly, so you can grasp all of it. Of this episode, not the previous episode. Here it is. It's pretty much copy-paste all over, but there is ways to improve this code, such as, I'm not going to go into it right now, maybe in the next episode if there is going to be one. But this code is not perfect, but it simply explains how this works. We also added some HTML, which is going to be this part we added. For you that can't read it, it says player list over here. And for the CSS, we added these. You could go deeper on your own, but I'm not going to do it in this video. Thanks for watching and peace out.